Om Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankaracharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam Nidhaya Hrivi-Vishweshwam Nidhaya Guru-Vandanam Balanam Sukhabodhaya Kriyate Tarka samgraha. Okay. So we are seeing Tarka samgraha, we are seeing the section on Hetva Bhasaha. Yes. This is about Hetu Abhasa, meaning a defective reasoning, just to sum up. Okay? Any defect in the reasoning is called Hetu Abhasa. Abhasa of a Hetu. There is no real Hetu. Hetu means reason. But it looks like a reason. Meaning a fallacious reason is called Hetu Abhasa. Okay? For that we saw 5 types of it. 5 types of that. Out of which we saw only 2. Okay? Savyabhichara hetu was the first one we saw. Okay? Anekantika, sadharnam, asadharnam, upasamhara veda. So the defective reasoning, which is called straying away from the topic, okay? Savyabhichara, or has got a vyabhichara in it, a fault in it. That itself is threefold, he says, the 18th verse, chapter 5. Okay? What is sadharanam? He says, the reason that is given is so broad, it doesn't prove anything. There's fire on the mountain because the mountain is known. And so many things are known. My head is also known. My head is not on fire. It is too broad. It is not valid enough. It's not a valid reason. Okay, savyabhichara. Then asadharanam. Asadharanam is you are giving a reason for which there is no example. In the sense, the reason is unique to the paksha, not available anywhere else. Okay. He is like that. Why? Because he is a human being. He is a human being. Like what? Yeah. There is no, this is right. The other is anupasamhari. Anupasamhari is you are making your paksha global. Sarvam anityam drishyatvat. It looks logical in Vedanta. Sarvam anityam, everything is anityam drishyatvat. Yatha, like what? Sarvam, there is no example available. Deha anityaha gatavat. You can say drishyatvat gatavat. Deha is anitya because it is objectified by you like a pot. There is an example available. But when you put sarvam, where is the example then? Yeah. Sarvam kshanikam. See, the statement may have some validity, but it is not logical because there is no, how do you prove it? Okay. How do you prove it? Okay. Therefore, because of that, he says, you are not left with an example because you made the paksha all inclusive. Remember, logic depends upon paksha. Sapaksha, vipaksha. Remember those 3 points. Sapaksha is what you have to, paksha is what you have to prove. Sapaksha will be the example, vipaksha will be the opposite side. Exclusivity. Therefore, all these have to be taken into account when you are making a paksha. Because, remember, no logical statement is global. It has to be within a framework. When you are saying everything, etc., then you are making a global statement. Then how do you say everything is anityam in Vedanta? Pramana is different. Shastra Pramana comes into this. Then that Shastra Pramana can be supported by some logic. It can't be proving logic. Sarvam anityam is a fact. But it is not proved by logic. Now you can have a vyapti if you want to put it logically. Yatra yatra kala avichinnatvam tatra tatra anityatvam. Wherever something is conditioned by time, it is anitya. Now put it, it will work. Now it will work. So you have to be careful how you frame a logical statement. Okay. Now that will become supporting logic for the pramana. Can you really prove kala avichinnatvam for the universe? Good, you thought about it. You can't. How will you prove? For the entire universe, you can prove it for a given planet. You can prove it for a given star. Can you prove it for the whole thing? How will you prove it for the whole thing? What is necessary to prove it for the whole thing? Prag and Pradvamsa, Abhava, you should be able to see. Prior non-existent, later non-existence. You should be able to see, infer, etc. Not there. Not definitive. Now you will say science. Yeah, science has got some logic for it. Which is the most current logic? Yes, accepted. Therefore, we will borrow that logic for the time being. But tomorrow science may change. Science is never constant. No scientific theory is constant. The Big Bang theory is the latest, not necessarily the greatest. Yeah. Particle theory is the latest, but is being challenged now by the string theory. It's contradictory. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Exactly. Yatha what? You don't have an example. Yeah. These are all illogical statements. No, it doesn't work because you have to give within the same community. Or you have to independently prove that Marwaris as a community is like that. Independently you have to prove. Yeah. That's why when you make the whole community and say Marwari is Kanjus. Yatha what?
Like if we say for example the Jains are religious, so that will not draw.
No. नहीं होता है. Too broad. The paksha is too broad. That is why, remember in the second chapter of the Gita when I did handling emotions, I gave some things called twisted thinking, irrational beliefs. There I put all these things as global labeling. No? It's global labeling. Yeah. That is a milder form of the same logic. That is a milder form of the same logic because these are all global labelings. They are not true. Now, certain traits, certain communities, groups, nations, cultures may have certain traits which are generally true but not necessarily applicable to a given individual. Like if you say Marwaris are Kanjus, for example. But a lot of charitable Marwaris are also there. All charitable trusts are established by them. So, it's not strictly true. Exceptions are there. Exceptions are there.
Something is very overlapping, no?
Yeah. In a way. Only because the paksha, the difference is only in how the paksha is taken. That's all. Yeah? Too broad, exactly. The paksha is too broad. Here the paksha is too broad. It made it all inclusive. Then you don't have an example left. Remember, when you are making a logical statement, that logical statement should be demonstrable.
Here we say that sarvam anityam is not a logical statement because it doesn't fall into this definition.
Because paksha is too broad.
Basically, we say that the five things,
Yeah.
hetu,
Yeah.
etc., wherever at least one defect is there, then it
Yeah,
is not a logical.
then it is not logical, exactly.
But if we say sarvam anityam, based on my experience, means whatever is the object of my knowledge.
Then you can say whatever I know. Again, whatever is a problem. Whereas if you say one thing, like deha anityaha, drishyatvat yathagata, there it will work. There it will work. Yeah. There it will work, but it won't work globally.
And how does West or the science define logic as? Here the logic is defined as
Yeah,
clearly
so
five things.
there also science is making an extension. Science, really speaking, is making an extension. Because it is trying to say certain things and then extending that. Therefore, it is not always logical. There are some presumptions in science. There are presumptions. Yeah. Because you are saying, if this this light form is observed, then that is true. Like what? So that's why science depends so much on experimental verification. They'll say, we will experiment, say, if this is true, that will be true, this is true. In 5 cases this is true, therefore in generally it is true.
They will only say whatever we have observed so far. It has been
Exactly. Therefore, it is actually, whenever we make a global statement, it's not strictly logical. Whenever a global statement is made, not strictly logical.
something like he's always like that.
Yeah.
Or these people are always like that.
Yeah. So science makes a lot of global statements. But the good thing is, in science, that's willing to correct itself. That willingness to correct itself is a big thing in science.
Because they said all cholesterol is bad.
Yeah.
They reduce it to HDL.
Yeah.
This is the biggest fox. Now they say sugar is the culprit.
Yeah.
Every time the theory is changing.
So we wonder what is really true at the end of it. Yeah. So then we will come to a modern statement. Everything in moderation is fine.
Science restricts it to what is observable.
Yeah.
In
Exactly.
data.
Data and what you can infer, presume from that. So science goes by the 5 pramanas. That is true. But in logic very often, because when science is trying to talk about the whole creation, there overextensions happen. When supposing that science is talking about a particular atom and things like that, this is fine. Observable, verifiable, example, all that is fine. But the problem will come when science is dealing with a particular particle that is found only for a split second at a given condition. Then there will be a problem. Because it is behaving like this. You can only say pratyaksha is the pramana there. I have seen it behaving like this. Okay, fine. Then there is no more anumana. No more anumana. That's why there is an attempt at science to make everything pratyaksha. Because that's the final thing. No? Even Vedanta it is there. Atmavare drashtavyaha. How the drashtavya works, Vedanta Paribhasha will clarify it further. Okay? Yeah. So hold on for that. Though it is not an object of perception. I had given remember those papers I had given out? Irrational thinking.
I can send it to you.
Yeah, it's there, you have it. Oh, file में देखो रहेगा. Guaranteed. There, she has it. This is the paper. Just show the paper to her.
Swamiji, those are not letting it
Yeah, just show it to her. I'm sure you have this paper.
But then whatever you think you feel is a fallacy because it belongs to one.
All that is irrational thinking. Yeah, exactly. Same thing. That is irrational thinking. Yeah. That's why all those thinking are irrational. Now you can identify. ये साधारणम है असाधारणम है. Not necessary as far as life is concerned. Okay. You have to sound irrational and knock it off. Yeah. Okay. Therefore, vyabhichara hetu over. Then viruddha hetu, opposite reasoning, where you are actually contradicting yourself. Okay. We do this in a lot of things in life. Very often we are contradicting ourselves. Whenever you contradict yourself, it is called viruddha hetu. Any self-contradictory statement that you make, viruddha hetu. You know, we make it in the areas of human behavior. No, I am not affected by it. Really? Why are you discussing it so much? You are affected by it. So it doesn't always come up as a cause effect. That will happen only in a debate or a discussion or something. But in life it happens all the time. I know, I don't care what people tell about me. But then you do care, because so many things you do are because people talk about it and you don't want them to talk about you. So in that way it affects life. So viruddha hetu brought into your life that way. Yeah.
It's such a small thing, they will say.
Huh?
Many people very often will say it's such a small thing.
Yeah.
So if that is so, why do you say that?
It is such a small thing, why are you so upset about it? Yeah. No, it bugs me. If it bugs you, it's not a small thing. If it's a pinprick, it's okay, fine. But it's more than that. Supposing you pricked your finger with a pin when you're putting a stapler or something, how much will you talk about it? Nothing, no? You just rub it up and okay, fine. Okay, no? Will you go about telling, you know what, I pricked myself with a pin today morning? You want to talk about it. But if you're talking about it, means it affected you, accept the fact, no? Then you can deal with it easier. Don't go into the viruddha hetu thing, you know, opposites. Yeah.
So the viruddha hetu will fundamentally go against the vyapti.
Yeah, contradictory. You're contradicting yourself, exactly. Therefore, the vyapti itself is contradictory. Then the next, this thing, very, very interesting reason it is actually. It is called Sat Pratipaksha Hetu. Yasya sadhya abhava sadhakam hetuantaram vidyate. You are given one reason to prove something. Okay? Tat sadhya abhava sadhakam. Something that can negate that sadhya. Another reason exists. You give one reason to prove something. Somebody gives another reason to disprove it. This is called Sat Pratipaksha. Like he is giving an example. Yataha shabdaha nityaha shravanatvad shabdatvad. He is giving a reason. Shabdaha nitya. Shabda is nitya. Shravanatvad, because it is only heard. Shabdatvad, because it is Shabda. Shabda is supposed to be nitya. He says, Shabdaha anitya karyatvat gatavat. Because it's produced by you, no? Sound is produced by you. Therefore it's karyam, like a pot. Therefore like a pot it can't be held. Now look at it. Shabdaha nitya shabdatvat. Shabdaha anitya karyatvat. One can contradict the other.
Not clear for me.
Okay, I'll give you a better example for in life. He is upset like that because he is a human being. Yaar, come on, he is upset. He is a human being. He can free himself from that sorrow also. Sat Pratipaksha. Both the statements may be valid from their own standpoint, But they cancel each other out. They cancel each other out. It's called Sat Pratipaksha. Very useful in a debate. The guy may be a strong argument, which you may not be able to directly oppose. But if you can give some other opposing argument, that is also valid, this is also valid. No, both cancel each other out.
Vedanta was doing
A
a lot of this.
lot of it we use.
Swamiji will say that, you observe, that's why you are.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah. Anyunya Ashraya comes into the picture. Yeah. But yes, here in Sat Pratipaksha, it is two independent arguments clashing. Two independent arguments clashing. They are opposing each other. Therefore, not valid. Give an example. Come on. Think. These are all things that you will use in life.
Because I am a doctor, I should know everything. All fields of medicine. Because I am a doctor, I don't know anything other than allopathy.
Okay. So both the arguments clash each other out. Correct? In medicine itself, yeah. Yeah. That's it. So Sat Pratipaksha comes, no? Because I am a doctor, I am the final word in this. No, medicine is keeping on changing, so you can't be the final word. Both are valid. Sat Pratipaksha. Cancel each other out. This is how it works in life. You know? When you have two valid arguments clashing with each other, then what is done in a debate is both are discarded. Both the arguments are discarded. Because they cancelled each other out. They are self-cancelling arguments.
Then, depending on what you're trying to prove,
Yeah.
this argument will not work.
Yeah, these two arguments will not, both the arguments will not work. Because they cancelled each other out. Now you have to start the game again. So actually to take part in a traditional debate is a great exercise. Previously in Kumbh Mela and all, even now I am sure it will be there. It used to be there. But known only to a very small group of people. Because Kumbh Mela, everyone comes up. Huge crowds come. All of them can't be sitting down for a debate. But then some Mahatma will come to you and say, Maharaj ji, दोपहर को 3 बजे या आ जाए ना, थोड़ा गपसप हो जाएगा. Come there by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll have some gupsap. हाँ जी, आ जाएगा ज़रूर. Thank you, धन्यवाद. Because you've been invited to either participate or see in a debate. That's happening. Others don't know what's happening. Nor will this guy tell the others because he doesn't want the lay public coming there and disturbing the whole setup. And it is very different from a conference. In a conference, you are presenting things. You write a paper and you present. Someone else writes a paper and presents. You saw what happened in that conference when somebody was being challenged. The guy saying, no challenging, nothing. Ye kya hai? Everyone says their own thing and goes away. There is no real arriving at the truth. You are only presenting your standpoint. A traditional debate is not like that. A Vakyartha is not like that. You debate, you discuss and there is a Madhyastha, a referee. He'll say, no, Sat Pratipaksha, both arguments gone. No. So he has to have the panktis and all very clear in his mind. And then the debate will go on. It can be in anything. Anyone can come and challenge anyone. Yeah, Dvaita schools can be there, Advaita schools can be anything. They also have a debate, yeah. That will become more like a Vakyartha. When two Advaitins are debating, the basic Paksha is Advaita. So that doesn't change. But you can have a Vakyartha. A Vakyartha is you are ascertaining what is the exact meaning of this Vakya. Yeah, there can be a difference of opinion, and then on basis of what logic, this, that, etc., what will you come? Therefore, you will come to a common understanding there. Yeah, abhava, or exactly. There it became a debate. Ajnanam Abhavo va bhavo va. Ignorance, does it have bhava or is it abhava? That became a big debate actually between Holy Narasapur school and the traditional Advaitins. I'll present some of those arguments to you all some other time, maybe in Vedanta Paribhasha. Okay.
So when you're in a debate like this, you have to say where you're coming from.
Yeah. Now there is something also called as Guda Abhisandhanam. You hide your intention and you present an argument. Allowed. Unless the opponent calls you out. What are you trying to prove on that? In the Brahma Sutra Bhashya also it is there. Guda Abhisandhanam, etc. I pointed out those things to you all. But that time those parts may not be very clear. Because you are not yet gone into the Tarka part. Now it will become clearer.
So in a scenario where somebody from Tarka and let's say Vedanta,
Yeah.
right? Eventually the guy who's speaking for Tarka will go back to the Dravyas, and say, no, where I'm coming from.
Correct. Then you have to dismiss the whole idea of Dravyas as Anityam, you have to dismiss it. So you have to attack fundamentals. That's why in a good debate you have to understand the other school of thought also. This was what was Kumarala Bhatta's problem. When he was debating with the Buddhists, he could present the Vedic standpoint very well, but he did not know enough about Buddhism. Therefore he went hidden as a student to a Buddhist teacher to learn from him. And toward the end, they found out that this guy is not a Buddhist at heart. So the story goes that they took him on top of a hill to throw him down the hill. Ahimsa oriented religion, okay? And he made a statement, if the Veda is true, nothing will happen to me. And they threw him down the hill and he survived, nothing happened except an eye injury. He said, how can I get this eye injury? Nothing should happen to me. So it seems someone said, that is because you said if. The story goes, okay? Okay, sorry. That's why because of that Guru Droha, he went and did that Prayaschitta according to the Veda. Yeah, exactly. He cooked himself to death because Guru Droha has happened. Why? Because he went as a Sishya. If he had not gone as a Sishya, there is not a problem. Like I am studying some Buddhist things from someone. I have not gone as a Sishya. I have treated him as an Acharya, not as a Guru. Therefore, there is no issue on that. But you have to be, that's why you have to be very careful what stand you take. Okay. Yeah.
So theoretically to a Vedanta guru, somebody who, let's say, for Samkhya,
Yeah.
comes and says, I want to learn from you.
Yeah.
The guru will accept?
Yes.
I mean, obviously,
Yeah. If he thinks he's sincere enough to learn, fine. Even otherwise, even if he wants to study it academic as a discipline, okay, no problems. Yeah. He didn't say I am a Vedika. He didn't say that. He hid that fact. That's why the Guru Droha part came. If you are not hiding that fact, not a problem. But then if you are hiding that fact, the question is whether you will be taught or not. In Vedanta, there is not an issue. Anyone is taught. No problems. Come. That's why the question of, even though they call this a secret knowledge, it was not really secret. Secret, it became self-limiting because of your understanding. Secret, it became because it had to be revealed. Okay. So these debates and discussions happen in all these places. They happen. Yeah. We saw these people trying to revive it. Indica Academy. Actually, that was only a vakyartha. That's not a debate. They are trying to clarify what is the meaning of this. Okay, meaning of a sentence. So that will be, there are two, again, vakyartha can be of two types. Either two scholars debating and discussing it, or very often it happens in ashram, what they demonstrated that time was a group of students will sit down and discuss under the guidance of a senior student or a teacher. The students themselves will discuss. Don't worry, when our ashram starts, no, we will have all this. Okay. बराबर हो जाएगा proper. Yeah. You don't see this in Coimbatore and all, you wouldn't have seen it. No. This is in traditional circles, very, very traditional circles. But that is how the real learning moves. In fact, we had a modified version of it when I was in Chinmaya Mission, this thing, that time, under Puja Swamiji, that we would always debate and discuss. We would have a debating group, discussion group, smaller groups. And I used to have a lot of fun there in that group. Maja aata tha. Yeah. Therefore, this is Sat Pratipaksha. Okay? Clear about this? This is basically two arguments cancelling itself out. Yeah?
I really don't understand how does the audibility.
Because there are. Yeah.
How does the audibility makes it nitya?
How does it?
Because it is audible, we are saying that because it is audible, the sound is nitya.
Okay, because this comes from. There are two statements. One is Veda is considered Nityam. So they say the Shabda, the Veda, either becomes manifest and audible or unmanifest and not audible. Why? Because how did the Rishis otherwise get it? It is not that it is always booming, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Yo Vedanehitam Guha. It is not booming. They are unmanifest sounds. But the Rishis got it, no? Therefore, Shabdaha Nitya.
No, but Swamiji, in that case it is okay.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I mean,
Otherwise, no.
when generally we
Yeah.
say
That's why I'm.
anything audible is nitya.
Yeah. See, that is why I am giving you the background from where it came. The statement came. Another is there is something called Spotavada in grammar. In Panini, there is something called Spotavada. There also the sound is treated as Nitya. Again, it came from the Vedic thing. Sound is treated as Nitya, that the word doesn't really go out, it only remains unmanifest. There is some truth in it. If you are talking about is the energy, does it really go out? Spota. Yes, spota. Huh?
Anything being Nitya, Nitya is not other than Brahman, then how can it be Nitya?
Because it's always there.
Then it's
Pravaha Nityatvam.
Nitya.
So we are not making a difference of two Nityas, we are just saying it is Nitya. It's Pravaha Nityatvam is there, no?
What is Pravaha Nitya?
Pravaha Nitya meaning it is continuous. It is not free from time, but it is continuous in time. When time ends, that will also end. Aisa. Pravaha Nityatvam is called.
Swamiji, the Rishis are known as Mantra Drishta.
Huh?
Mantra Drishta.
What is that?
Mantra Drishta. Mantra Drishta.
Yeah, Mantra Drishta. The Rishis.
Rishis are Mantra
who
Drishta.
heard the
Acha, Mantra Drishta. I'm hearing Pancha. I don't know why I heard Pancha. Mantra Drishta. Huh? Yeah.
So then the sound is not involved. It is Mantra Drishta.
Yeah. The Drishtam is what? Perception. Perception is in the form of sound. Shabda. That's why it's called Shabda Pramanam.
You see, they heard it.
Yeah, they heard it.
So it was language is Sanskrit.
Yeah. I mean, we are assuming that. That's why they call it Deva Bhasha and all that thing. No? Yeah.
Authority here, Shabda, they don't understand as sound, which is like, concerned with space, and space is again Dravya and Nityam. They don't feel like, not in the light of that.
No, yeah.
Here it is taken sound as Shabda, not because they say that.
Yeah. So that's why all sound.
And then according
You see, now look at it from the standpoint of science also. Look at it from the standpoint of science. Sound is energy. Once manifested, it will be always there. I can't hear it. That doesn't mean there is no sound. There are so many sounds I can't hear without me hearing it. But that doesn't mean it is not there. So many sounds the human ear cannot hear. The human ear cannot hear. But that doesn't mean those sounds don't exist. Yeah, like a dog will hear. There are certain dog whistles which are called silent whistle. You blow, your dog will hear, but no other person around will hear it. Because they are high-pitched sounds which is beyond your beyond your hearing range. Therefore what? Supporting arguments for Shabdaha Nitya. If you are taking Shabda as the Veda, then it is Nitya. Correct. But Pravaha Nityatvam. As long as the creation there is there. Pravaha Nityatvam. If you want to compare it with Vedanta. See that if you notice in Tarka, they don't make a difference between Pravaha Nityatvam and Absolute Nitya, etc. They don't make that difference. That's why you have to understand the system, what it is, and accordingly. Makes you think, no? That's the whole exercise meant for. Make you think about it, yeah. Okay. Clear up to now? Okay. Then the next one is Asiddha Hetu. Asiddha means not established. Whatever reason you are giving is not enough to establish it. You are given a reason already, not enough to establish. That is Trividaha. One is called Ashraya Siddhaha, Swarupa Siddhaha, and Vyapitva Siddha. At least two of them we can see. Let us see the Ashraya Siddhaha. Ashraya meaning what? In the base. Asiddham. In the base it is Asiddham. Ashraya Siddha Yatha. Now look at this argument, okay? Gaganarvindam Surabhihi Aravindatva Saroja Aravindavat. Gaganarvindam. Arvindam meaning what? Lotus. Arvindam is a lotus. Gaganarvindam, the sky lotus. Very fragrant. Surabhihi. Why? Aravindatva, because it's a lotus. Yatha, example, Saroja Aravindavat, like the lotus in the pond. The lotus in the pond is fragrant. Therefore, Gagana Aravindam is also fragrant. Clean logical statement. Example है सब कुछ है. यत्र यत्र अरविंदत्वम तत्र तत्र सुरभित्वम तथा गगनारविंदम अपि सुरभि. Exactly. That is the flaw. It is called Ashraya itself is not there. Ashraya Siddha. Yatha Gaganarindam Ashraya Sacha Nasti Etyeva. The sky lotus itself is, you are debating about a thing which is not there. The crow may be black, but its teeth is pearly in color. Like the teeth of a dog. Ashraya Siddha. Yeah, be careful of my horns. My horns are very sharp. Wherever there are horns, they are sharp. Yatha, wild buffalo. Yeah, if anything with this hypothetical becomes Ashraya Siddhatvam. Huh? Yeah. Atyanta Bhava it is. Ashraya itself doesn't exist. What are you talking about? Therefore, if such an argument is presented in a writing or by a speaker, etc., immediately the response will be Kakadanta Parikshanam. You are examining the teeth of a crow. That's the time to the guy to take a step back and say, hey, what am I saying? Kakadanta Prekshana. There are many paribhashas like that. It's all fun. It's all part of a life which is almost like not there now.
Apply this for the fire in the mountain.
There is not applicable because the mountain was all that exists. This is only when one thing that you're trying to prove itself doesn't exist properly. Its existence is not proved. That's why the ashraya itself is asiddham. Your ashraya is not siddha. That's why anything that you talk about, first of all, the existence of the thing should be proved or not. If that itself is not proved, what are you talking about?
Why does need not die so?
Because there are others. See, that is the Nyaya way of keeping on categorizing. This is a completely opposite of Vedanta thinking. It's all about creating categories. In fact, most of our studies are like this. For example, you study biology. Oh my God. Classification. Vertebrates, invertebrates. First, basic classification. उसका बाद कितना classification? अरे यार जिंदा है मालूम है ना बस हो गया. How many classification? You take a plant and how many classification of biological class? How much all we studied? Because this is different, that is different. This is palmate arrangement, non-palmate arrangement. क्या है ये सब?
So otherwise in a debate technically you stop by saying that it is inadequate to establish.
Yeah, ashraya siddham. Say it. Finish, हो गया काम. Yeah. So that's why Nyaya is the language of debate and discussion. And it has a role to play because of that.
Well, the statement may be not following this logic, but there may be some truth in that statement.
Yes?
There may be some truth in that statement.
There may be some truth. Nobody is saying
For
no.
example, if someone says, if you don't take care of your health, you will have problems.
Yeah.
Like a chain smoker getting a cancer,
Yeah.
lung cancer. Chain smoker
Their
getting
ashraya siddhitam will not work.
Is it a ashraya siddhitam?
No. Because health is existing thing. Health is not a non-existent thing. Ashraya is there, no?
Okay.
Only when the ashraya itself is open to question. Ashraya siddhitam. Yeah.
In all asiddha hetu is unestablished.
Yeah, it's unestablished, not established. Exactly. That's common in all of them. Asiddhi, not established. Because sometimes this will happen in a dialectical discussion. Okay. Yeah.
We don't come across so many in real life ashrayas.
Not very often, yeah.
Because
Yeah. Unless you are debating over something which is not established. As an idea, etc., it will come. We will debate about an idea which itself is not established. Yeah. Which itself is not clear.
politicians are good. Politicians keep saying that don't talk about hypothetical things.
Hypothetical, exactly. Yeah.
So probably in science while experimenting, before it's established, there could be several ideas. And
Yeah, correct. So an inquiry into something that is not established is different. That you're making an inquiry, trying to do a pramana vichara on something which is not yet established, trying to figure out something. That is different. Logic is always given to prove something. No? Then the question is, if you're something that is not established, you are trying to prove, and that itself is not established, then this fault comes into it. Ashraya siddhitvam comes. Like you were saying, the fire on that mountain will be hot because Agni is hot, exactly like how it is there in the kitchen. But how do you know there is fire there? There is no smoke scene. There is no fire scene, there is no smoke scene. Therefore, ashraya siddhi, na? Ashraya Siddhi.
Like say fire in the lake.
Yeah, or fire in the lake, Ashraya Siddhi. So, you have to be careful what it is. In the fire in the lake example, what is the Upadhi? Yes. That's the Upadhi there, okay? Yeah. Therefore, you have to rule out all these Upadhis. When you make a logical statement, there are a lot of things to be ruled out. That's why a framework has to be designed very, very well. Only then it is logical. And what is the beauty of Vedanta? You are destroying all frameworks. All framework is destroyed. Chalo, I mean, what are you going to debate on? Really speaking, that's what Vedanta unfoldment is. We use logic only to make you understand that. But actually it's demolishing everything. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we can see one more. Then it is called Swarupa Siddhi. Next one is Swarupa Siddhi. Among the Asiddhi, second variety, Swarupa Siddhi. Okay. Swarupa Siddhi yata shabdaha gunahas chakshuštvat atra chakshutvam shabdaha nasti shabdasya shravanatvat. The Swarupa of the reason itself is not tenable. Swarupa Siddhi meaning the Swarupa of the reason, the truth of the reasoning, the hetu that you are given itself is not tenable. Like he says, Shabdaha Guna. Shabda is a guna. That much is correct. But the reason what are you giving? Chakshustvat. Because seen by you. Chakshutvam nasti. Shabdehe nasti. Shabda doesn't have chakshutvam, it has shravanatvam. Shotratvam it has got. Therefore, even though what you are saying is correct, the swarupa of the hetu that you are giving, the reason that you are giving is wrong. He is a human being. Correct, he is a human being. But why do you say that? Because he has got two legs. So a lot of people have two legs. The crow, the monkey, the pigeon. All of them are not human beings. That he is a human being is true. But the reason that you are giving Swarupa Siddhi. Are you getting that? This is. Yeah. Correct. But that's not the reason, because other things with Ati Vyapti happen, no? Yeah. Therefore, that's why Swarupa Siddhi. The Swarupa of the argument doesn't hold good. Because then what is the Swarupa of the argument? Again, put it back in Vyapti. Wherever there is two legs, there should be humanness, which is not true. So your Vyapti itself is Asiddhi. Vyapti has gone out of the picture. Your Vyapti is no more tenable. Even though what you are saying may be true. Which one? No, Shabdaha Guna is true. Exactly, Chakshutva, that is the argument which is not true. Therefore, the Hetu for proving it is a Guna is not true. The Hetu for proving it as Guna is not true. That's why it's called Swarupa of the Hetu Asiddhi. You have to make a move. Yeah. Swarupa of the, this is gone. Of the Hetu itself is gone. The thing may be true or not true. But the reason for proving it is not valid. The reason is wrong. Getting it up to here? Okay. What is the difference between Ashraya Siddhi and Swarupa Siddhi? The Paksha itself is not established.
Here it's true, but the reason for thinking is false.
And in Swarupa Siddhi, the reason is false. Remember, there are two this thing. Paksha itself is not established. In Ashraya Siddhi. That's why Paksha is the Ashraya. Ashraya means the table is Ashraya for the book. So the Ashraya for your argument is the Paksha. No? If that itself is not there, what are you talking about? Whereas in Swarupa, you are only talking about the nature of the reason is not true. The thing may be true, may not be true. That's a different question altogether. It may be true also. But the reason that you are giving is not true. Now the question will come up when sometimes you will combine two pramanas and use it. Swargaha anityatva. Why? Praptyatvat. Swarga is anitya. Why? Because something that you gain, anything that you gain is anityam yatha gataha. Clear? But Swarupa not established, is it Ashraya Siddhi? If you are going by worldly logic, Ashraya Siddhi, you can say that. If you are bringing in Shabda Pramana, then you have to say it's bad. Okay, fine. So now you see how he is used. In usage is never one Pramana at a time.
The same thing, Shabdam is Nitya, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same Shabdam.
Yeah. So when you are saying, if you are taking a religious stand and saying Swargaha, Asti iti, now you don't have, it is not, it is beyond logic. You don't have logic to prove it, you don't have logic to disprove it. It's important to understand that. You don't have logic to prove or disprove. How do you prove or how do you disprove it? Logically. Swarga asti, what logic will you give? Swargaha nasti, what logic will you give? Swargaha nasti adrishyatva, because it can't be seen by you. So everything that is not seen by you doesn't exist. Is that true? Yatra yatra adrishyatvam tatra tatra nastitvam. Can you prove it? You can't. There is no vyapti like that. So you see, when you say something is beyond logic, what do we mean? Because there Shabda is a pramana. Once you accept Shabda pramana, then you can say Nitya or Anitya. Then you will say Swargaha Nitya. Why? What is the reason that you will give? Swargaha Nitya. When you go there, it's eternal. You will never come back. What is the reason? Huh? Yeah, there is no like also. So you can't prove it. But there can be a disproving logic for that. By prapyatvat, since there is, you have to gain it, something to be gained, anything gained by karma. Karma janyatvat, anityatvam. That is definite. Yeah. Whereas to say Shabda, Swarga is Nitya, you neither have logic nor you have to say my religion says that. You can't say Shabda Pramana is saying it.
Based on which philosophy you are having,
Exactly.
you will then rest on
Exactly.
that.
Yeah. But that is an illogical belief. Remember, there are logical beliefs, there are illogical beliefs. Whether you believe in heaven or not, that's neither logical nor illogical. Why? There is no logic to prove, there is no logic to disprove. Therefore, you can't put it within the framework of logic.
So what would be stumbling block for people whose philosophy was Tarka to see Vedanta? Because if you really knew Tarka well, you should be able to.
They can. So if they come and study Vedanta properly, they will see it properly. But you have to be able to dismiss some of these arguments. So that is why later writings, post 16th century, post 12th century, for example, see there is what is known as post Shankara writings. For example, Vedanta Sara that we saw is something post Shankara. So similarly, about 16th century onwards, there is a lot of books written, which is all challenging Tarka and dismissing Tarka and explaining Vedanta with Tarka language. Advaita Siddhi, Siddhanta Bindu, Siddhanta Vedanta Paribhasha, correct? Vedanta Paribhasha. That's why it's important to study a little bit of that, because that will help you answer some of the arguments from science. That's why I'm teaching Vedanta Paribhasha. Next text is for you to be able to argue against some of these arguments. Otherwise, advanced texts are also there. I don't know when students will come for that. Advaita Siddhi, Chit Sukhi, Khandana Khandana Khadya. Fantastic text. But you have to learn some Sanskrit before that. Those books are very difficult to teach without some understanding of Sanskrit. Why? Otherwise, I'll be stuck in one line for the whole class. One whole class will be in one line. So some Sanskrit people will have to pick up. Yeah. Then we can teach that. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Therefore, Sarvasya Kartas, Sarvajnaha. There is what? Sadharanam, Asadharanam. Okay. Not logical. Gatasya Karta, Gatagnaha is correct. Patasya Karta, Pataknaha is correct. Sarvasya Karta, Sarvajnaha, how are you making that jump? It's an extension. Therefore, not strictly logical. Therefore, that's a supporting logic to understand. The logic comes from the pramana. Pramana says Ishvara Sarvajnaha. To understand that, you will use this logic. That's why there is a big difference between proving logic and understanding logic, supporting logic.
That's why logicians proving any God.
Yeah, correct.
They have to have the God.
Yeah, their God, the same problem exists. The same problem exists. So you have seen two types of asiddhitva. Then there is vyapyatva siddhi. So thoda elaborate, we will see that next class. After that, badita hetu and the section is over. Inference is over. Yeah, you have a question? Yeah. Yeah. Other paradigm is not true. Yeah. You can put it that way also. That's why in real life it becomes huge. Yeah. And some things may be illogical but may still work. That factor also has to be kept in mind.
Now,
Some,
the biggest international arguments in our all conferences is there. They are bringing a different point of view. Now, we make growth charts for
Yeah.
pregnant ladies.
yeah.
So, what is the argument? That all over the world, all women should be treated same, and they have a standard growth chart. Okay. So now, according to the standard growth chart, if you put that chart for India, Africa, and Asia, all the children come underweight.
Underweight,
But
exactly.
they are arguing that why are you debating? Why should not these countries also have? Why UK and all? If they say 4 kg for UK is overweight.
Yeah.
Okay. So they say 4 kg you think is normal, but actually it is overweight.
Yeah.
Because those women are eating more, and we think 2.5 kg is low because they are supposed to be low. So they are discarding that, and now they are bringing standard charts for the whole world. Now that is creating so much problem because
Correct.
90% of our population, all our patients, the babies are coming under.
That is why you are having the problem of obesity all over the world.
Yeah, so but then they are saying that so many people from India are
Yeah.
migrating to America or London or wherever. So those people are using their charts. So then Indian babies, they are going according to their standards there.
Which is not taking genetic, cultural, racial differences into account. See, because I'll tell you why. This is happening because you are bringing political correctness into science. Everyone, all people have to be treated equally. That's a political stand. That is being brought into science, but science is talking about differences. An Asian structure and a European structure is different. Climate influences, diet influences. In a colder country, maturity is slower. Therefore, they will be older when they mature. Therefore, taller, bigger kids. heavier kids when they mature. In an Asian country, it's hotter. Maturity happens faster, which is known in nature also, no? So they are ignoring all that in the sense of political correctness. Use the argument of political correctness and this you will find it very easy to handle.
And Swamiji always just saying we should celebrate diversity.
Yeah, exactly.
But political correctness also, Modi is accused of, one nation, one
Yeah.
nation, one culture. That is wrong.
Then you'll have Coca-Cola culture all over the world.
Conferences are going on this.
Yeah.
That this is standard weight and all the other women.
Yeah.
So Indians and nations and all are fighting. Right? We are never going to get a 3 kg baby.
Correct.
If we see 10 patients, only 5 patients or maybe 8 patients will be below 3 kg.
Exactly.
So all that possibly already limited pregnancy.
That's being yeah. Anyway, good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.